Knowledge base. As your company grows and does business, the benefits of having a knowledge base within your CRM solution becomes very apparent, especially once you start to realize that the knowledge about your company, your services, and your products is all kept by your staff in their heads. And of course, your staff can often leave your company, which in turn leaves you with a hole, and that intimate knowledge is gone. Now, a better solution is to take the knowledge that your staff gains over the years and put that knowledge into a central repository, so not only can other people take advantage of having that knowledge on hand so that they can tap into it, but also if people leave your company, anyone else can still have access to that same information. So our knowledge base can contain things like common problems and the solutions that you've found to those problems, things like product data sheets and schematics, frequently asked questions, as well as other things like product user guides and troubleshooting steps. Now, not only does having a knowledge base help your support staff when they've got a customer on the phone or perhaps someone requesting help by email, but it can also help practically anyone in your company find the answer that they're looking for to a problem that they might be experiencing. Now, the cool thing about the knowledge base is that it isn't just a central repository of information for you alone. This information can also be emailed to your accounts, your contacts, your leads, your queues, and your users as well, so it makes it easy to find what you're looking for and share it with other people. Now, the knowledge base in CRM is template driven, so before you can start putting information into it, you will first need to create an article template. So in Outlook, on the left, we'll expand Microsoft Dynamics CRM, then we'll click on Settings. Then over on the right, we'll choose Templates, and finally, we'll choose Article Templates. Now, as you can see, we do have a couple of default templates here, and although you can use them if you like, we're going to ignore these for the moment and we'll create our own template. So up the top, we'll click on the New button. Now, firstly, we'll need to give this template a name. So let's say that we're going to use this knowledge base to store frequently asked questions. So I'm just going to give it a name of FAQ. And in the description, we'll say frequently asked questions. And for our language, we're going to select English from our drop-down box. And now we'll click on OK. Now, over here on the right, we'll click on Add a Section. And it's this section that will indicate where the text is going to be positioned within this article here when our articles are created. So we'll give it a title. I'll call it FAQ. And in the instructions field, we'll say, type your FAQ here. All right, we'll click on OK. And now we can see where this text will go when we create our articles. But do realize, however, that what you see here is only just a placeholder for our actual article text. When we publish real articles, we're not going to see this text in here. So from this drop-down box at the top here, we can select either our body text, the title, or the article heading, and these three things here correspond to these three sections below. So let's select section heading, and using these formatting buttons at the top here, we could change the font size, the style, and the color. So let's say we want our FAQ heading here to be in red. So over on the right, we'll click on this A button here, and we'll select a red color. And you can see our heading has now changed to red. Now, of course, we can also make it bold. We could use italics, underline it, or even change the size to a larger size if we like. Now, once we've set up our template the way we want it to look, up the top we'll click on Save and Close. And now we've created our template. Now, since we've got our template, it's also now live on our system, by the way, we're able to immediately use it to start populating our knowledge base. So if we come over here to the left on Outlook and we'll choose Service, and then we'll click on the knowledge base link, you can see we've got three areas here. We've got drafts, unapproved, and published. Now in this draft folder, you're going to find those articles that are currently in the process of being written. Unapproved contains articles that have been written and submitted for approval, but they've either been rejected or they're simply not yet approved. And our published folder contains articles that are approved and they're live and they're ready to be viewed. So at the top here, let's click on the New button to create a new article. Now this will be in the English language, and then here we'll need to select which template we want to use for our article. So we'll use the frequently asked question one we just created, and we'll click on OK. So here's where we can enter in the details of our article. So the first thing we'll need to do is give this article a title. So let's say we're documenting how to get an outside line from within our company's phone system. So we'll need to give it a title. So I'll say, how can I get an outside line? Now over here on the right, the subject field lets us assign a category to this article. We haven't talked about subjects yet. So for now, I'm just going to click on the lookup icon and we'll choose our default subject and click on OK. And we will come back to this a little later on in this video. Now for our keywords, this is an important section since we can use these keywords to help us search for articles. So for our outside phone line problem, good keywords might be outside line, phone, and possibly dial tone. And I'm actually going to change our title here to how can I get an outside phone line, so that probably reads a little bit better. All right, now you can also see that that's changed the title of our article here. Now, for the body of our message, we'll click inside the body here, and then we'll start entering in the answer to this frequently asked question. So we'll say dial 0 on your phone keypad, then dial the number. All right, we're done here, so we'll click on Save and Close. Now that we've saved our article, you can see that it now lives here in our drafts folder for now, where we could simply open it up, we could choose to edit it again, or if we feel that it's complete and it's ready to be put into CRM for people to start accessing it, we can select our article here and then click on the Submit button. All right, and then we'll click on OK. Now that we've submitted our article, if we click on the Unapproved folder, we can see here that our article is now moved from our draft folder into our unapproved folder, and it's now waiting for someone to approve its contents. Now, by default, users in CRM that have the customer service representative or CSR role are able to submit new articles for inclusion into your knowledge base, but in order to approve these articles, you'll need to at least be a manager, although you could certainly customize those role permissions if you like. All right, so let's open up this article by double-clicking on it. And from here, if you have the permissions, you'll be able to reject this article if it contains any errors, or perhaps you think it isn't worthy of inclusion into your knowledge base. And if you do reject it, it will be placed back into the drafts folder again. So let's reject this article for the moment. And then we'll need to enter in a reason why we're rejecting it. So we'll just say, more info, please. And we'll click on OK. And then we'll click on Save and Close. And we'll go back to our drafts folder. And we'll double click on our article again. And now if we go and select the Comments tab, you can see that we've got a new comment here by me, the domain administrator. So if we double click on this comment, we can see the reason why it was rejected. Okay, so let's cancel this and we'll resubmit this article again. And since I am using an account that does have permission to approve articles, we'll click on the Approve button and then we'll close this article for now. And if we then select the Published folder, we can see here that our article has been published and it's now live and ready to be found. Now, once an article is live, it can be searched for, but do be aware that it can take around 15 minutes before the article has been spidered and included in the index. So if you happen to search for it immediately and you don't find it, then that's probably why. Now, there are several ways that you can find articles once they're in your knowledge base. We could use a full text search, a keyword search. We could search by the title of the article, as well as the article number, if you happen to know it, or we could simply browse for it. So over here on the left in Outlook, we'll scroll down and we'll select Workplace. And then we'll click on the My Work link and we'll select Articles. Now in the Search For field here, we can enter in what it is we're looking for. So I'm just going to type in phone and we'll click Search. And in the results, there's the article we just created. So we can double click on it to open it up. And hopefully that solved our problem. Now, if this article is useful, we can choose to email this article to other people in our company, or even email it to people outside our company, such as our leads, contacts, and accounts. And on the Actions menu, we can also then show any comments that have been attached to this article. And of course, we can print it out so we have a hard copy if we like. All right, let's close this. And from this drop-down box here at the top of our articles section, we could change this from its default of a full text search to search only keywords. We could search the title of articles, the article number, or we can simply browse our articles. Now, if we select Browse, then click on our default subject, in the right-hand pane, we'll see all of the articles within this category. All right, so let's take a look at how we can modify these subjects here to create our own. That way, we can enjoy the benefit of having a categorized structure to be able to search through. So over here on the left, we're going to click on Settings. We'll choose Business Management. And finally, down here, we'll choose Subjects. Now, as you can see, we only have the one subject by default. And whilst we can certainly use that, and we have used that, you'll certainly want to create your own. So over here, we'll choose Add a Subject. Now let's call this subject Winstructor. And we can also assign a parent subject to this one if we like. Although we'll make this one a root level subject, so we won't do that. And in the description field, I'm just going to call this one Parent Subject. And then we'll click on OK. All right, now we'll click on Add a Subject again. And I'm going to call this subject Support. And then we'll click on the lookup icon, and I'm going to set the parent to Winstructor, and we'll click on OK. And in the description field, I'm just going to call it Support. All right, we'll click on OK. We'll add another subject. I'm going to call this one Sales. We'll click on our lookup icon again. Again, I'm going to select Winstructor as the parent, although you will note that I could choose Support and make that the parent if we wanted to. But we'll leave it at Winstructor. We'll click on OK. I'll call this Sales, and we'll click OK again. All right, now if we expand out these categories, you can see our subject tree is taking shape. Now, it's also worth pointing out that this subject tree management isn't isolated only to your knowledge base, since cases, products, and sales literature can all take advantage of this subject tree. So bear that in mind when you start creating your categories here, or you might find out that when it comes time to add your products into categories, you might then decide that you need to restructure them. So take a bit of time beforehand to think about how the structure you create is going to affect your entire CRM implementation, not just your knowledge base. All right, well, let's go back to our knowledge base, and we'll click on the knowledge base link here underneath our service folder. And then we'll go back to our published folder. And if we needed to change this article, for example, to update the content or to change the subject that it's listed in, we'll click on the Unpublished button and we'll say OK. And now we can then edit this article. All right, so back to our unapproved folder, we'll double click on our article. And let's change our default subject, and we'll place this one under our support subject, and we'll click on OK. And now we'll choose Save and Close, and now we can approve this article. So now if we scroll down and go back to our articles section and change this drop-down box to Subject Browse, here we can see our subject tree, so we're going to expand Winstructor. And if we click on Support, there's our published article. So in this video, we've seen just how easy it is to create a knowledge base within CRM4. A knowledge base is a great idea since it allows you to capture all sorts of information about your company, troubleshooting steps, processes, and so forth in a central location where it's easily located, searched, and even shared with customers if you need to. Remember though, as it is a database, the knowledge base is only as good as the information that you put into it. So what better time to start entering in good solid information than right now, since as time goes by, this will develop into a reliable and critical tool for doing business and solving your problems. So we hope you've enjoyed this video and would like to thank you for supporting Winstructor.